Alright everybody, it's Clow here, and this is going to be a follow-up to the Beyonce video I put out the other day. If you have not had a chance, be sure to watch it before this one, as it lays out the whole framework, all the disclaimers, resources that are definitely relevant to this set of connections I found between the JFK assassination and what appears to be another high-profile assassination plot that is being orchestrated by the powers that be, and most certainly as a part of their massive divide and conquer and ultimately overthrow agenda for this world. Okay, so again, familiarize yourself with both occult research and my other videos, as they will give you a lot of insight, and with that I need to jump right in because there's a tremendous amount to cover today. So on the right side of your screen, you will notice that I have pulled up a refresher for you here for some information having to do with Beyonce's 7th World Tour, her World Formation Tour, so you can see this information for when it began, when it ends, as well as some info about the actual live debut of the song Formation. Now, what we talked about in the first video was just how many 99 reductions we get from those dates, and of course the tour itself also 99 days and all of the reductions from there. Now, I want to draw this into today's information. Take a look on the left side of your screen now. Lemonade released on April 23rd of this year, and so you see very clearly up top here that reduction coming down to 99 as well. And what I'd like to point out is that this album has a staggered set of release dates here trailing all the way into May, and so what's very interesting to me about that is 3 of those 4 dates do give us that 99 reduction, and so there is really a very intense level of information connected with this number, but very quickly for the point of today, I want to show you some of it that is very important concepts that I will elaborate on. So notice United Nations and go to the interior Earth. Okay, you also see Hollywood, butterfly, again think of monarch, mind control programming, and familiarize yourself with it if you are not yet. You also see reference to Anton LaVey, demonic forces, and the 888. Okay, and so all of that absolutely in spades important today, so keep it all in mind. And again, Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan. This song debuted at the Super Bowl this year, which was Super Bowl 50. This is the 50-year anniversary of Church of Satan as well, and that date that it debuted you see very clearly here reducing down to that 99. Now with that though, let's keep moving though, because there's a lot of new stuff to cover today. Notice here for the day April 24th, when it was made available for actual download, you have a couple of different reductions you can arrive at, and it depends on if you hold on to this 0 or not. Okay, so if you do, you come up with the number 109, which is very important because that is the simple value for Rose Bowl. Okay, this is where Beyonce will be playing. It will be the 135th day of the year, again very important, and the 18th day in her tour. Okay, a lot of significance in all of that there. Okay, and what I also want to point out very quickly here is that it is also going to be 99 days from when Formation was released, okay, that she will be playing that show at the Rose Bowl. Again, the 3 months 9 days there, reducing down to either the 12 for the Hanged Man card, again very important, or inverted there is the thelemic 93. Okay, and so let's just jump back here though, but again notice for Rose Bowl 666 Warship number 7, okay, her 7th tour. Alright, the 18th day of this tour, 18 divided by 3 is the 666 there. Okay, all of this having to do with these trinities. Now I also want you to see it as reference towards the key of the rituals, as well as the 9/11 attack, the new golden age, so on and so forth. Alright, very important coding in there, but jump back over here though, because 109 is significant in another way as well that I think is really interesting with this publicity stunt Hillary Clinton did back on the 18th of April here. See, she was doing a radio interview and said that she carries hot sauce with her everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that later on in this video here, but notice she then later tweets that it was a direct reference to Beyonce's single Formation, And what's very interesting about that, as you saw up top, the date there, April 18th, the Monday, okay, just if you're really trying to split hairs with me, that was the date, but it was the 109th day of the year. Very important there, okay? Not a coincidence that that stunt happened on that day. So notice as well, if you drop that 0, you have the number 19, which is the sun card, which is always of immense importance to keep in consideration. This is the path of Resh, as I will mention it later on today as well, and so please pause and look through there to see the reduction of the 333 you get from interpreting the sun card, the 27, and how it all plays into May 24th. Alright, so I also want you to consider that Illuminati, alright, and Beyonce references this in her Formation song, very tongue-in-cheek, but that is a 10-letter word and it starts with the 9th letter. Alright, so again, you can look at that as 109, which we just covered, or again, adding that 10 and 9, you get 19 for the sun card. Alright, this is also the value for the letter S, the 19th letter, very important to keep in mind. Okay, so now with that, very important, I'm going to come back to this stuff about the last day later on. Again, you can see I get this from breaking down the 999, and so I'm going to talk about that later on. 211th day, Master Builder, all that stuff. She will be playing in Frankfurt, Germany on that day, which I feel is absolutely critical. Now before we get to all of that, let's backtrack here just a little bit and see that Lemonade, again, that date of April 23rd was the 114th day of this year, and again, the immense importance of that 114, you see it reduces down to 44, and I wanted to take this as just a brief moment to reiterate the connections between the JFK assassination and all of this Beyonce information. So note that her name value is the same as John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Again, with that you have these ideas of MK Ultra, mind control, the Brotherhood of Saturn, the Great Babylon is fallen. Alright, all of that stuff absolutely in conjunction there. Formation, 3 minutes 26 seconds, 326 was the number day of the year JFK was assassinated on. The New Orleans police car, okay, that she drowns on in the Formation video, same values as the grassy knoll. Okay, Pasadena, California, that is where the Rose Bowl show is going to be taking place, has the same values as Dallas Trade Mart, as well as David Copperfield. Okay, remember David Copperfield mentioned 8 times in that bill to protect magic as a national treasure. Okay, and the Trade Mart is where Kennedy was heading when he was assassinated. Look at this coding: Skull and Bones, Holy of Holies, 66. Okay, 997. I'll talk about that number later, as well as the Path of Resh. Okay, all of that immensely important here. Okay, the number 114 itself is the same value as Friends Arena. Okay, that is where she is going to be playing. As you can see written out here, 135 days after that magic bill was introduced by the 114th Congress. Alright, and so important there to consider. And you also see again that Rose Bowl show taking place on the 135th day of the year. So now I'm going to talk about this one and elaborate it as we get into things here, but this I want you to remember, JFK being assassinated at 411 Elm Street. Again, the inversion of 114 there. But so now let's jump into this and really drive some points home for you here. I want you to see this article I'm going to look at from CNN called Decoding Beyonce's Lemonade. Okay, and so very interesting. Remember with 99, 888 came up, and you'll notice for this, the title of this article, each of those 3 words is in fact 8 letters. Okay, so you have a very nice 888 laid out for you right there, and I want you to see here for the coding for it, you have hands that shed innocent blood, destroy them, as well as the dove. Remember the connections I showed you from Prince's When Doves Cry and his untimely death. You also see the rebirth of the master, colonization, never a good thing to see, as well as the encrypted code, and 114. Okay, so on top of everything I just showed you there, then in this here with the 888 you have the 114. You also see the deadly Cliphoth, and remember this is the inversion of the tree of life. This is said to possess the energies that drive people people towards self-destruction, towards misery, towards death, towards all of those negative states of being. All right, now take a look down below her English and simple values here. This is very important, this 1308, and again dropping that 0, we would have the number 138, and all of the connections I showed you with this Misfits album, Bullet, clearly JFK being assassinated on the cover there, but an immense amount of information to be had from this, even how it ties in with what I'm talking about today. You see here on Plan 9, it is 1001 is the code for this release. 1001 is also the address of the Rose Bowl. Okay, so absolutely important that that comes up with that there. And I will talk about the album more later, but check out more of this here. Again, the Qliphothic Tree of Life. Our number is 11, and remember, there's a number that notoriously has bad juju put with it. You also see here the Book of Revelation, excuse me, 1982, which I think is a veiled reference to Iron Maiden releasing their album, The Number of the Beast. Okay, very important there. And let's take a look here at this 1308, because I do want you to see where it is that I've pulled that from. Okay, and so goodness. Okay, so it is the same Jewish value as 1596, which is the number of days that were in between JFK and Martin Luther King's assassinations. All right, again, you see that important 4-4 there, this idea of expecting the unexpected. History repeats itself. Again, 444, very important here. All right, and so let's keep moving though. I'll give you an example on that later on. So now down below here, the actual author of this article, let's see, I have it back here for you, Lisa Respers France, how it's all written out there, blue face, no comma between her name and France, and so I take that all to be representative of one phrase. Okay, and so with that you get the numbers 396, which I think are very interesting because that is the simple value for this idea of there is the dove and there is the serpent, and this comes from Crowley discerning between the two versions of love that do characterize this world. Okay, and so look at that. For those values, you get the 33rd degree of Freemasonry, another government false flag operation, desires to dominate and control others, causing unnecessary pain or suffering. Okay, on and on. System of economic contradiction. That's all we have. And at the very end, you see worship or reverence as of Satan as a deity. Okay, so very important. I also want you to see, remember in that Skull and Bones number that was the same as Dallas Trademark, Pasadena, California, the 997 comes up. If you do 99 times 7, it is the number 693, which is an inversion of 396, which we just looked at there, and that is very, very crucial. Okay, again, you see all of these connections, and so again, I talked about that in the Ride Johnny Ride video. I want to keep moving today. So with all of that, look back down here for Lisa Respers, and you see Illuminati confirmed, as well as Ball of Tyre. And I want you to see that one because back here, again, for those of you not familiar, you can just see roughly translated as Lord, Owner, Master, so on. But this absolutely being one of the central kind of deities for whether it be Scottish Rite Freemasonry or any other occult organization, Ball absolutely comes up and is typically depicted with 3 faces. Again, you can see in the highlighted portion here how each of the different names for him represents a different aspect of him, and again, the concept of trinities just being wildly important in these circles. Okay, but I want you to see in Tyre the supreme god remained El. Okay, so it retain that name, and I'm going to show you a little later on here how lemonade is actually an anagram for a demon El. Okay, and how that wraps back into this 145 date. Now keep looking down here because you see coding for Bavarian Illuminati, demon mind control, the satanic bloodline, okay, the end of humanity, so on and so forth. All these very powerful things coded in there. Now I want you to see there's only 2 story highlights from this, one pertaining to the visual album and one saying the internet was in its feelings. Okay, so again, all of this, whatever people are freaking out about, thinking these are her personal songs and stories, this is all publicity, this is all to generate money, this is all to get you thinking about certain things. things at this particular time. Alright, so I want you to see for this coding here, you have the idea of everything is dying, the mystery of the rapture, the great architecture of the universe, architect of the universe, and written perfectly. Alright, now if you look through here, you see quite a bit of powerful stuff. Aleister Crowley's full name, she is the true Marilyn Monroe, and again with all the 135s, it's very, very interesting, but you see all these ideas of Department of Homeland Security, extinction of all people on earth. I want you to see this, the day of judgment of the nations, comma, because it's another phrase, is called 3 days after a full moon. And so remember back to the Family Guy video that I showed you, the significance of this 145 from the signs in the background gives us the day May 24th. Again, you see the breakdown there being the 119, 99, inverted 9/11, however you want to see it, but remember that that day is 3 days after the full flower moon. Okay, so very important, especially when you see the breakdown here. Remember 264 has a simple value of 44, and with it you see kill, magic, HAARP, Godhead, all of these very critical concepts, and you'll also see full flower moon being directly connected with the age of Aquariums. All of that coding I've shown you in previous videos. Okay, I also want you to see for these two locations given in the little mall kiosk thing in that episode, they can actually be viewed as dates as well. You could look at it as May 23rd and May 24th. Very important because the 23rd coming down to a double 5 and the 24th, as I showed you, being an inverted 11-9 or 9-11, 99, whatever. Okay, so very, very interesting stuff there. Okay, again, you see translations of the apocalypse, poisoning our food supply, magnificent King of Kings, magnificent truth and King of Kings, as well as earthquakes in various places, all things we've talked about. Alright, so now let's get into this a little further. Because again, there's a lot of publicity behind this album. There was a very cryptic trailer for it for HBO special for the visual album. Alright, so that's what we'll kind of get into next. But talking about at the end of it, it closes with her saying, "Pull me in 3 times." Alright, and so very interesting that when we look at "pull me in" times 3 there, right, it is the same Jewish coding as Mike Will Made It. And so that's very interesting to me because Mike Will Made It is the lead producer for the Formation single. Alright, and so we'll look at that again in a second here, but notice again the September 11, 99 coding, the Trinity of Devil, Satan, Dragon as second 9/11. NASA reveals Elenin, and check this out, this reference to Ottawa here, and of course a very big deal to me because I showed you a tremendous amount about Alanis Morissette, and she was from there. All the significance, okay, but you see here that 666, very, very bold-faced on their flag there, okay, really not two ways around that one. So you also see the use of black magic to harm others, okay, remember Formation, the video takes place in New Orleans, notoriously connected with black magic, okay, you see religious martyr, mind control device, jump in the fire, demonic laws, okay, ground plan of manifestation, all of this stuff coded in here. Alright, now look down below, same English and simple values as Rich Texans Quinceañera store, and I want to just show you this very quickly because this was in the most recent episode of The Simpsons that I broke down for you, but notice inside of this store, okay, you have these 3 sets of 15, each very nicely just marked aside there. Again, that is the devil card, 1 and 5, 6, 6, 6. Okay, you can reduce those down so you have 18s and then 9, 9, 9, however you want to see it, but they're absolutely conveying that to you there all throughout this scene here. And so it's also very interesting how that ties in with this. Now I want you to see, most importantly for this coding right here, monarch, mind control, product, okay, all of that coming back. This idea as well as 666 is King of Kings, okay, so that duality, all of it being inherently the same. I want you to see one of the ways that that is possibly conveyed through this Family Guy stuff is on this episode that I looked into for you, the 333s and all of that. This is Santa's sleigh, obviously 3 X's right here for the 666, and on the opposite side you have the divine S right here, right? 19, the sun, path of Resh, whatever, but both in the same plane, and outside of them, right in between, is this concept of love, right? And how that gets in the way of things, and how it is absolutely just a critical component to this process. But so a lot of profound symbolism there, but let's keep moving here. You see Mike Will made it, again the producer, for formation, all right, number of letters in his name, 444, and then 2. Do the math, you get this 888, all right. As I said, same as pull me in times 3. The English and simple values happen to be the same as Judas Be My Guide from Iron Maiden's Fear of the Dark album. Again, 666 is all over that, and you also see George Clooney as well as my name put in there. Now take a look here again. If you've not seen the gravity videos I've done, there's a lot of very profound symbolism, including right here this inversion, and you see again the upside down triangle very nicely placed on his watch there, the sign of Aquarius or water. Very important symbol. But take a look here for the actual coding. You see the apocalypse, global control, manifestation, Anuit Coptis, as well as to May earthquake, May 20, destructive, yellow sun, perfect number, and Hecate evocation. Okay, all of that supremely important. Keep moving here though. So if Mike Will made it, who is Mike Will? Okay, you see here, if we take the first letters from his name there, we have the 4 and 5 giving us 9. Both the names are 4 letters, so you can look at that as 944. Okay, now that's interesting because that's the same Jewish value for I Slay remix. Okay, so take a look on your right over there so you can see all the coding in line with that. And if we reduce I Slay remix one step further, you'll see it comes down to 9. Both of those words being 5 letters, giving us 955, and now you see how that is connected with Dallas excuse me, Love Field, which is where JFK was heading from. Okay, so it's kind of like this single comes out first, and she's going on the tour supporting it, so she's coming from this I Slay remix, you see what I'm saying, into Pasadena, into the show that's going to be on the 26th in Stockholm, Sweden, alright, at Friends Arena. Alright, so absolutely monumental. Now look here for Dallas Love Field, 13 Illuminati families, Goldman Sachs run USA, the Grove, Fire Lover down below, Freemasonry, Ancient Egypt, Ashes to Ashes, Baptism of Fire, Imperial Cult, all of that stuff hanging out for you right there. Very obvious. Now keep going here. Staying in the line of who is Mike Will. Okay, you type him in on his own, you get the number 1003. Drop those zeros, that is absolutely the death card. Alright, so take a look at that. God is the devil, messages of demonic inspiration, violence and deceit, a savage beast. Okay, down below, same values as Sasha Fierce, okay, who Beyonce is essentially owned up to being a entity, a demonic force of some kind, whatever, that possesses her during her shows, allowing her to take part in them. Okay, so very interesting. See the coding there with the Magus, and again, that coming back to the goat of Mendes, enthroned Washington, so on. The Magus card itself is said to be standing in front of the 42 fold table associated with the 42 assessors of death, as well as sudden destruction. You can even take the Magus, the TM there for 24, and an inverted 42. Okay, very important number that I've shown you all throughout this stuff. Now keep looking through here. You have this phrase of do the math, and so what's important here, when I break down 564 and 94, you see the reference to 114, of course the reduction to 44, but then on the other side this is the death card, and then reducing down to 4 again, so you have a set of 444 there. Now very important, because that's absolutely Jewish coding for Order of Thelema, head mind control, and again look at the English values down there. Pretty much all of the most important figureheads for the modern day religions, alright, and you also have them tied with concepts of war pig, killing, occult, the king, ruler, anti-peace, alright, so on. And so it's very interesting. Now take a look at the formation, okay, because you do see there that it has that T and F there, giving us 26, which is interesting because we did see that for the More Than a Dreamer coding. Again, remember how that came up in the video with Martin Luther King on the cover of that there. I've got it for you right here, the French horns, everything I talked about in the first video. But notice as well the words are 3 and 9 letters, inverted 93. And so let's jump back here, since on that CNN article, one of the pieces that they honed in on was that the visual album was going to be released as well. So take a look at the length for that visual album, 1 hour, 5 minutes, 22 seconds. Alright, so let's start breaking that down. There's a lot of ways you can look at it. The number 105, you'll notice, gives us 9/11 again, 99, as well as messenger, sudden death, the world, suffering, masonry, cliff-off, symbols, and vitriol. Okay, so now very quickly here, I do want to read an excerpt from the Book of Thoth just to show you that vitriol is actually an abbreviation for visita anteriora terri rectificando inveniae occultum lapidum. Okay, and so that means visit the interior parts of the earth. By rectification thou shalt find the hidden stone. Okay, and that hidden stone, referential towards universal medicine, sometimes right, described in all these different forms, but I want to hone in on the central word rectificando because it implies the right leading of the new living substance in the path of the true will. Okay, so the leading towards the right direction for the right reasons. Okay, that is absolutely pivotal stuff to come up there. Remember, that is from the art card, which is the continuation of the of the Lovers card there. So a lot to be said. Please look into it. But know that that is a very important connection that is being conveyed there. Alright, so furthermore, take a look at this. If you get rid of that 0 and the 105 there, 15, devil card, 6, lovers card, alright, next to 22, the number of cards, right, in the tarot, in the tree of life, that's the number of pathways. It's how old the Vi was when Enthroned Washington was debuted. Alright, it's a master builder number, highly associated with Aquarius, a tremendous amount there. So take a look when we do that 6 times 22, okay, we get the number 154, and so it's not going to pull up in that one for me, so let's get back over here. Okay, so you can see 154 popping up here with Kiss's Love Gun. Again, all of the interesting stuff that I showed you with this album, the connections to Freemasonry, MK Ultra, as you can see up above there, and then Kiss's Love Gun itself, the Queen of Babylon, Law of Thelema, okay, all of that right in there. So now keep moving here. Columbia Records, feel free to pause and look through this. It is an inverted 93. There's some important stuff in there, but I want to try to get this video as close to half an hour as I can. So Lemonade, notice that that is an anagram for a demon L. Again, what I covered earlier in this video. Notice as well that the letters for that give us the number 145. Okay, that is May 24th, which I've shown you all over the place now. And see as well the Jewish value of 155, okay, because that is the number of days remaining from the 29th of July, the 211th day of the year, and what came up as that last day coding from the 999, which I think I still will elaborate on towards the end here. But now look as well for Lemonade, you do see reference to false flag as well as the law, Texas, right? Remember from the Misfit song, Texas is the reason that the president's dead, okay? All very important. Now take a look here for Beyonce's Lemonade, right? How you would actually look it up. Same values as Paris, France. Very bizarre, okay, because that woman who wrote the CNN article from France or in France, however, to have it so that they mention that, that's where Eliphas Levi lived, okay, guy I was just referencing with Enthroned Washington. Take a look down below, and again, remembering the immense importance of that 66 and its direct connection to Skull and Bones, because you could take 322, right, 22 times 3, 66. Now you see the Eye of Ra, cauldron of sacrifice, as well as cataclysmic and blood-filled streets. Now down below, the English and simples are the same as the brothers. The alternative name for the Lovers Tarot card, a real cup of coffee, again a huge concept, as well as Masturbate Me. Now that is also from that Misfits album, the Bullet album, again MM44, all of the connections there, okay. Take a look, you see Donald Trump Master Mason, behind the 11, number 7, great architect. Again, all these things starting to loop over now, okay? And so now here's the last bit in the presentation for today. Looping back now to the line, I got hot sauce in my bag, swag, all right? And so very interesting, because the Jewish value of that is 2110, okay? So 211, if we drop that 0 off. And how interesting, because that is the coding up here for the last day, all right, is the 211th day. I want to show you how that is also connected with the 7th seal, okay, as you can see broken down here as 211, and I'm going to show you where that 0 fits in and how it is connected, okay? So look here, because you also see shadow government 253. Remember in that Family Guy video when I was talking about the 9th of September as being another potential day to keep our eyes on. You do have this coding here. Let me try to pull this back up for you so that it's a little cleaner. Okay, so here's our 145, September 9th. Somewhere in here. I don't want to get too caught up in that because I'm too far into this video to feel like redoing it, okay? So that is in there. Go ahead and find it, but see as well for the English and simples, this 264, this is something that we get from doing 66 times 4, again, full flower moon, doing that reduction there, and of course that also being affiliated with the 44 on its own. But take a look here, you have reference to 333, and again, remember, and it looks like September 3rd was the day I was meaning there, inverting those two there, so my mistake on that. But notice here for the air date for this Family Guy episode, it does reduce down to the 333, and all of that connection coming through very strongly there, so absolutely keep that in mind. And the fact that it also says 3 days after a full moon, again, all of this having to do with that 145th day and it being 3 days after the full flower moon, okay? Very important stuff there. And so let me see for the 7th seal on this, the reason I want to show you that 211 there, and so take a look back here as well. Because you will see discussing in this movie the concept of the silence of God is a very paramount concept throughout here, 0 absolutely being referential of that silence, and so having that come up with the hot sauce and then the 253, you know what, I feel like I'm still, jump back here because I feel like I did. There we go. September 9th, the 253rd day of the year, and it is a 9/9 because of it being the 9 month. Also notice days remaining, 113. Okay, very important there. 11 times 3 for that 33. All right. Okay, I'm sorry. I knew there was something more to that there. Okay, so now let's keep moving here. First 7th seal. Okay, you notice great harvest, then sudden destruction, subconscious implants, as well as destroyer of the earth. 33 is sacred in the story of creation. Down below, notice these values are the same as used and abused books, as well as peanut brittle, alright? And both of those coming from the Simpsons episodes. Again, notice used and abused books, prediction, and programming, alright? All of this coming full circle here. You do have the Wild Wild West reference. That is a 555. Chris Rock mentions that in his little Oscar speech or whatever. A lot to be said about that, especially in conjunction with the idea of an assassination against Obama, alright? So keep all of that in mind. Look through that coding there. I want you to see if we were to take off the swag for I got hot sauce in my bag, you would get the same Jewish value as natura non facet saltum, which is a very powerful phrase from the Empress card, so please look into that. But you do see evil curse, bringer of the age of Aquarius, as well as occult conspiracy right down below. Conspiracy theory reveals a hidden truth, the Large Hadron Collider, and I'll see you in July, alright? So hot sauce, alright, 3 of life and death, that is just further I guess, proof of the relevance of the Empress card. That is that card. Alright, you also see again small sacrifices, satanic fire, and the path of Elenin. Okay, English and simple values for hot sauce. Okay, very important because that 552, that is the length of Prince's song When Doves Cry, which I showed you a tremendous amount of very crazy coding in the video about him. That is also the reduction for when Mir de Nom was released back on May 23rd of 2000, again having to do with just the fusion of these divine energies, the joining as one, the singularity. Alright, all of that coming back. So now in this last stretch of video, I know we're a little over half an hour here, we'll try to knock it at 40. But for Frankfurt, Germany, remember this is where she's playing on the 29th of July, and that is the date for that last day from the 999 coding that I've showed you a few times throughout here now. But see here that it has the same English value as civil rights leader, and so now that is just so very interesting to me because for civil rights leader, please remember, and this is all coming just back to this Family Guy video, Kiss Save Santa, and in that you have the phrase civil rights leader is killed. FBI kills a civil rights leader, alright, beyond hideous, beyond description, all these sort of things. And what I want you to keep in mind is that for this Formation song, they're clearly trying to put Beyonce as a civil rights leader. Okay, they have her connected with all of this Black Lives Matter stuff and making her seem like she's really, you know, this controversial character, again playing a role designed for her that could absolutely be leading her towards a path that she knows is her doom. Okay, so take a look at civil rights leader. You do have these reductions to 55 there, very important, but take a look at that 1086 because that's the thing that it shares in common. You do see reference again to the 888s, all of that I've shown you throughout here. Subliminal message, controls the media, Large Hadron Collider, okay, you name it. At this point it's hanging out in there. So I want you to see there's quite a bit that we can look into here at the end because the English and simple values for Frankfurt, Germany happen to be the same as Battery Studios. Remember, that is where Iron Maiden did The Number of the Beast, and 198 is the sum of 3 times 66. Remember, we get that from Formation and Pasadena, that number 366. And what I also want to have you keep in mind for that is this is a leap year. So there are 366 days in this year. Okay, so take a look at all the different coding for that. Formation having the 666, 111, and just coming full circle on this. Okay, I want you to see in this coding the United Nations 235. Again, think back to that 235 from the Family Guy coding. You also see history repeats, corrupt justice, the last trumpet, the key to the seals, the second 9/11, weather modification, the Scottish Rite. Everything right in plain sight for you. Alright, last piece I promise is Commerzbank Arena here. Okay, so this is where she's playing. As you can see, that is 94 days into the tour, reducing down to 13. The death card, okay, again 3 months and 3 days. It's a 33 into the tour. Alright, look at these breakdowns here and just notice, right, corrupted state, back from the abyss. Science fiction is not fiction. Alright, the English and simple values, you have messages revealed, satanic rulers, I am guiding you, devil worship, Luciferian Mason, as well as ultra poison and mystical arts. Okay, so with that being said, and again you see the same values as Andrew Rannells guest starring in this episode. Just so you see up here, 616 is affiliated with Jeff Martin, and he was the writer for the episode recently that had Andrew Rannells, and again AR-19 Path of Resh. But take a look here, formulating all the way back to JFK, the formula of magic, perfect number, okay, last day, satanic Thelemites, orchestration, whole bit in there. Alright, supremely fascinating to me. I'm gonna cut it right there. I know I talked fast throughout it, but it's how I gotta do these videos. And again, if you're watching this in Google+, please be sure to come through and actually subscribe to the channel. Help support this by just showing me that you're aware that these videos exist. Alright, so thank you so much for watching, everybody. Put all of that together, and I promise that you will see some very tight connections. Alright, so again, thank you very much for watching, and please be well.